Everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. Loads to get on with for today's video. We're going to have a look at the rain event that's taking place at the moment. Nothing particularly dramatic going on yet, but I think the rain will really pep up later on this afternoon and into this evening in the southeast. We're also going to have a look at the coming month, as we normally do. On a Friday, it is JMA Friday, so we're having a look at the Japanese and the CFS models for the coming month. That'll take us into the second half of August, can you believe? So going towards the end of the summer almost with this update. Been a funny old summer, and it'll be interesting to see whether that strange sort of weather that we've been having all summer really continues into the final month. But before we go on with all of that, just got to say about the ads. There's links to articles on the page. So guys, if you don't have a browse through the widgets, any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You have to go for read the article. Thanks so much for doing that. With video ads on most pages, you say open up in the content. When you watch them, they'll close back up again. It's all helping to pay for the website. Thanks so much for doing that. So just very, very quickly starting off with radar picture from the weather outlook, and this is the current situation. Got some heavy showers across Scotland, but the main massive rain is down across southern parts of England, and you can see there's some bright colours already in there, so there are some really quite heavy bursts, but things will get heavier with the rain through the course of this afternoon and into this evening. This is the high resolution WRF model, and this is the forecast from the model up to 2 o'clock this afternoon. You can see pretty good representation where we are at the moment, with many parts of England and Wales, south of say the middle of Wales and north of the Midlands and Lincolnshire, south of that, generally quite wet. As we run through, you're going to see vibrant colours appearing into this evening. This is 5 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock, this is 7 o'clock. You can see by 7 o'clock down across the southeast, some very, very heavy bursts of rain. Indeed, that is torrential rain coming up across southeastern parts of England and heading up towards Lincolnshire. Notice the very, very far eastern tip of Kent is just about staying dry, but most parts of the southeast very, very wet as we go through into this evening. And then the rain intensifies, pushes northwards, possibly into the south and east Midlands. Look at those colours, there's some very intense colours in there. I'm not sure whether that'll contain lightning and thunder, but with such intensity of the rainfall, it could do. And that rain is moving, as I say, through the east part of the Midlands up in towards East Anglia by 10 o'clock tonight. So very, very wet. If you're out and about this evening, do watch out. It is going to be very, very wet. And then as we go in the second half of the night, that rain clears away to the east gradually. It's still there across East Anglia at 3 o'clock in the morning, but slowly it does go. There's a hang back through tomorrow morning of lighter sort of rain across eastern parts of England, but the torrential stuff gets out of the way through the early hours. Notice there's some heavy thunderstorms breaking out across parts of Scotland and Northern England. But rain not the only story, also some very strong winds. This area of low pressure will be developing off the East Anglian coast through the course of this evening. And that's really what's intensifying the rain as that low pressure sort of winds itself up down to the southeast. Notice tightly packed isobars around the eastern flank of that, I should say the western flank of that low pressure, and a strong northeasterly wind coming down across much of England and Wales, but particularly to the southeast, where we could be up to gale force. This is the wind forecast from the GFS model. It's up to midnight, and we've got the yellow colours here off the East Anglian coast, indicating that some parts of East Anglia certainly could have a risk of gale force gusts into this evening and overnight. That could cause damage. So we've got the risk of flooding in the southeast. We've got the risk for damage being caused by the winds, particularly with the trees in full leaf. The branches do come down quite easily when they're sort of heavy anyway, because they're in leaf. So yeah, pretty wild old time of it, and not what you'd be expecting to see on the 24th and 25th of July. So a lot going on there. Do keep checking the radar picture from the weather outlook if you want to see whether that rain does indeed intensify in the southeast, as it's forecast to do so this evening. Okay, let's have a look at the coming month. This is the 500 mm height anomaly chart from the JMA model. This is of course broken down into weekly periods, so the first week period will be the week that we're currently in, as you know. This takes us from the 24th today through to the 31st of July. Blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and orange, yellow extrapolating to to high pressure. Very easy to see what's going on for the coming week. Quite a deep trough of low pressure right in there over the top of the country. And the jet stream is a little bit to the south as well, so it's very unsettled, and it's quite cool also. A pretty grim week coming up. There will be bands of rain coming through. I think the worst it is today, actually. I don't think the rain will get quite as bad through the coming week as it is today, but nevertheless it's going to be an unsettled week, and cool as well, with the jet stream generally going to the south of the country. If we have a look at the next weekly period, this one takes us from the 31st of July through to the 7th of August. A little bit of a change. The trough of low pressure is going off up towards Scandinavia, so it is weakening over the country. Got this ridge building across eastern parts of Europe. I'm not sure whether that's going to do very much for us. Not a great deal going on, but I think we're generally still keeping the jet stream coming through the country a little bit like that. So I will expect it's not as bad as the coming week, but it's probably still a little bit mixed. The south perhaps getting the driest weather, the north getting the most unsettled conditions, and overall probably no great deviation from sort of mid to late summer type weather conditions. It will be warmer and drier compared to the week that's coming up. And then going through to the final 2 week period, this takes us from the 7th to the 21st. It's all got a little bit odd, hasn't it? We've got a bit of a trough going on down to the south of the country. Still hints of that ridge across eastern parts of Europe. Still a bit of a trough in over Scandinavia. And we've got hints of northern blocking. So quite what to make of that, I'm not sure. And of course, the JMA has been struggling, I think, this summer, as has many of the longer range and shorter range models. All models have really been struggling this summer, and that is rather a strange chart. It's hard to make much out of it, but what I suspect could be going on there is that gradually it's turning more unsettled, perhaps, with low pressure threatening both from the southwest and possibly from the northeast as well. So overall, the low pressures could be closing up on us, perhaps, through those middle 2 weeks of August. But it is very tentative, that, and I'm not sure the model has all that much of a signal, really, as we go off into the middle part of August. Have a look at the latitude views, broken down again into weekly periods. So this is the coming week. Obviously, that trough is in there right over the top of the country. We're just there in the far top right-hand corner of the chart. Just looking at it, low pressure's in over the country for the coming weeks. Are going to be very unsettled. Temperature anomalies are coming out significantly cooler than average. I have seen some information on the Weather Outlook forum that this could be the coolest sort of last week to July since 1965. So that would be quite something. If that did come off. The rainfall forecast is coming out wetter than average generally across the country as well. So a pretty grim week coming up. The next week period shows the improvements. Again, remember this is the 31st to the 7th of August, and the below average heights have gone across the country. We've gone up to near normal heights there. So obviously things are improving. It may not be totally settled, but things should be improving there. The temperature anomaly still coming out very lowly, really a cooler than average week being signalled once again by the JMA, and the rainfall anomaly is improving, so we're going a little bit drier than average as well. Again, I wouldn't be expecting a completely dry week. Don't be running away with the idea that that's a completely dry week. I think there will be some showery bursts of rain coming through at times, but certainly compared to the coming week, it is a drier week, if you see what I mean. The final 2 weekly period, again, going from the 7th to 21st of August. Again, very difficult to work out what's going on from this, but we've got these below average heights down to the southwest threatening, I think. So perhaps transitional. The 3rd week maybe mostly dry. The 4th week perhaps going more towards unsettled conditions. The temperature anomaly still looking very disappointing. Cool end to the summer, if this is right. And the rainfall anomaly, well, we're hinting at still being drier than average, but notice we've got these blue colours down to the south. That's wetter than average conditions, and they are threatening the south at times, I think, there. So, as I say, maybe turning more unsettled from the southwest, and maybe even from the northeast as well, as we go through into the middle part of August. But it is a weak signal. CFSV2 looks like this. These are the 500 millimeter heights, again, broken down into week periods. So the first weekly period is the 23rd to 29th of July, the coming week. Very unsettled week. coming up with the low pressure more or less over the top of the country. We've got this ridge down to the southwest, but it's not able to do much because the jet stream is generally to the south of us, rather like that within the 500 millibar flow, so it's unsettled and cool. The next weekly period stays pretty unsettled, I would think. We've still got the trough close to the country. It's more centred over Scandinavia and in the central part of the Atlantic, so there could be some sort of ridge building to the south, but I'll put a question mark there. I'm not really all that sure about that, but the jet stream could be going something like that. So similar to the JMA, really, probably an improvement, but still not totally dry for the week, going from the 30th of July through to the 5th of August. The next weekly period looks like this. This is from the 6th to the 12th of August. It's still pretty mixed, really. The low pressure is out to the northwest. We've got some sort of a ridge, as with the JMA, across eastern parts of Europe, but I don't think that'll do too much for us. The flow is probably going a bit like that. So still rather mixed, I would think, going through the second week of August. And then finally we go to the final week, which is the 13th to the 19th. And again, it's all rather strange. It's hard to decipher much. There's some sort of a ridge across central parts of Europe. We've got a trough across the northeast of Europe and Scandinavia, and a trough in the Atlantic. Bit of northern blocking as well. So that's very similar to the JMA, but both of them have very weak signals. And quite what's going on for us, because we're in a bit of a no man's land, I'm not sure. But again, I would guess that we're probably being attacked from the southwest, particularly maybe from the northeast as well, and overall probably turning quite unsettled. The temperature and precipitation anomalies look like this. The temperatures coming out for the coming weeks significantly cooler than average. Be interested to see whether we do indeed have the coolest last week to July since 1965. I'll keep you posted on that. The next weekly period, from the 30th of July to the 5th of August, comes out again cooler than average. The third weekly period is looking cooler than average as well. Not as bad as it is for the coming week, but still cooler than average from the 6th to 12th of August. And then the final week, going from the 13th to the 19th, again comes out cooler than average. So that is a pretty grim 4 weeks in terms of temperature anomalies, if you'd like a warm and dry pattern. Not quite sure why it's that bad, but it's been a signal through the summer, and it could just be that the Atlantic is very cold. The sea surface temperature anomalies in the North Atlantic probably at their coldest since the early 1990s, maybe even the 1980s. So that's probably having an impact a little bit on the temperatures. Rainfall anomalies from CFSV2 for the coming week coming out a bit wetter than average, particularly to the south. The next week period does turn a bit drier than average though, so that looks a bit better anyway in terms of rainfall, even if the temperatures aren't much to write home about. And then it all goes sort of to near normal, and that's probably because the model is losing the signal from the 6th to the 12th, so not sure we can decipher much there. And it's a similar story, actually, from the week from the 13th to the 19th. The further out you go, the weaker the signal gets, not just in terms of the height anomaly, but also in terms of temperatures, rainfall, and everything else. And I think for the rainfall, as we get through to the middle part of August, the model is losing the signal just a little bit. The city temperature graph from CFSV2 comes out looking like this today. This is from website webweb.net. Find links to webweb on the links page. Very disappointing temperatures, really. You'll see there's no particular warm weather coming up. Maybe a little bit of a push up in the temperatures there. That's around the 1st to the 3rd of August, something like that. But they quickly drop down. And then overall, very disappointing temperatures, really. Just sort of flat line at a bit below average. So that backs up what the model was showing. These are the temperatures on the side of the graph. So that's 22 Celsius. That's about where we should be through August. And you see, except for that very brief push up around the 1st to the 3rd, we basically don't get to average at any point through August. It's September the 1st, just here. And we're around 18 Celsius, something like that, generally. So that is a bit below where you would expect us to be. In August across central parts of England. So those temperatures look rather disappointing, to say the least. And finally, just finishing off with the height anomalies broken down into monthly periods, August is looking like this. And these do change on a daily basis, so do keep checking WeatherWeb to see how these are changing on a daily basis. But I think there's we've got some ridging in the central part of the Atlantic, bit of ridging up to the northeast of Europe. But I think there's a trough within the 500 millibar flow, almost over. It's not a deep trough, but it's there. So that's the reason it's a relatively mixed and rather cool month. But if you want a late burst of summer, you can normally rely on September to do it. And there we go. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly for September, and it's sticking in a big ridge over the top of the country. Summer returns as autumn begins. That's usually how things do end up. So it'll be interesting whether that comes off for September, but for the coming month, it's all looking a bit mixed and a bit cool, really, and that would round off a fairly poor summer, certainly for the north. The south has been okay. It's been a really strange summer pattern, with just around 300 or 400 miles making the difference between not a bad summer and a really horrible summer up in the north. It looks like that's probably going to continue, with maybe the south, if anything, going a bit more towards the badder side of things. And of course got that rain today, so if you're off out and about, to be serious, remote, because that's all high experimental just for fun really, but to be serious, if you're off out and about this evening in the southeast, do take care. The roads will be awash, so you're going to need to take care on the roads this evening. It's the weekend forecast tomorrow. Come back for that. Going to be an unsettled one. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.